Hey, my name is Mark Garretts and I'm with BlasphemyRibs.com. I'm the creator of Blasphemy Ribs, and that's a new style of making ribs one at a time in half the time with a lot more bark and a lot more flavor. So give them a try, you're going to love them. Now this video is all about how to make blasphemy ribs. Now there's two different styles of blasphemy ribs we have on the site. One is the standard barbecue smoke style and the other is the char siu style. In this video we're actually going to split this rack of ribs into two different parts, and we're going to make part of it as the char siu ribs and part of it as the blasphemy ribs. So you'll see both techniques. So I hope you enjoy this video. I hope you go to our site www.blasphemyribs.com, go to the swag page where you can order Blasphemy Ribs t-shirts like this one that I'm wearing. And if you do that, I really appreciate it. It'll help support the site and spread the word about Blasphemy Ribs. Now let's get into it. So the first thing you want to do is rinse off your ribs. So I have a package here of baby back ribs. I'm just going to cut the end off and pull the ribs out and give them a quick rinse in the sink. And once I'm done with that, put them on the cutting board, and you're going to want to flip the rack over, and the first thing we're going to do is remove the membrane here on the back. So the first thing is you want to get a piece of paper towel ready and also a nice sharp knife. And I'm feeling along to find a bone, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a slit in the membrane right over the top of the bone there. And just a little slit, but you got to make sure it cuts through the membrane. Pat the ribs dry a little bit. And then I'm going to try and see if I can get my finger in the hole here and see if I can start to pull it. And sometimes it just can't get it going, so I'm going to just use a kitchen knife, a butter knife, to get under there a little bit and pull up that membrane just to get it started. And then what you want to do is grab your paper towel and grip the membrane through the towel and just sort of work your way underneath and start pulling it to one side. And that paper towel really helps you grab it. So I'm just going to work it until I get it kind of across the rib there, and you can see it starting to come away. And what I'm going to do is pull it to one side first, and I'm going to just pull it all the way off. Once I have that side done, I'm going to start pulling the other direction. And sometimes it comes into a couple pieces. Just grab them up and pull them together. And that's how easy it is to remove the membrane. So the next thing I'm going to do is just trim off a little excess fat here. There really isn't a lot of excess fat on this rack of ribs, so that's the only trimming I'm going to do. And the next thing we want to do is we want to cut the rack of ribs into individual ribs. So I'm going to start from the small end. I'm going to feel along the ribs and find the space between the two bones and simply slice it. That's the first one. I'm going to show you the second one here. And the third one. You don't really need to watch me do all the ribs. So I'm just going to cut a few more here, and then we're going to zoom forward to the end. And I've got them all cut up now, and I've split the ribs into two groups because we're going to do, remember, char siu ribs. I'm going to put the 4 char siu ribs. I'm not going to make quite as many as the other, but I'm going to put 4 char siu ribs into a baggie. And then I'm going to set those aside, and just a small baggie is all I need for 4. If I had any more than that, I'd use the bigger baggie. Then I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of the ribs in the bigger baggie. Get them all in, and next thing we're going to do is apply the rub. This is NOH brand Chinese barbecue char siu marinade. It's a powder. We're actually going to use it as a dry rub. I'm just going to sprinkle some in here. Close up the bag. And get just a little more. And we're going to close up that bag. And we're just going to kind of shake it up and move the ribs around and get them all nice and coated in that rub. And once you get that done, I'm kind of massaging it to get the rub that's on the side of the bags off the bag and onto the ribs. And I'm going to check to make sure I've got full coverage. And it looks like at the bottom I've got a rib there that doesn't quite have enough marinade on it. So I'm just going to add some more of the rub and repeat the process. Try and get it at the bottom of the bag here. Apologize, my arm's in the way, you can't see it, but I poured some into the bottom, and I'm going to zip that bag back up and repeat the massaging and tossing action to get it all fully covered. And once I got that done, I'm going to set it aside, and now we're going to apply our Blasphemy rib rub to the rest of it. And the recipe for the rib rub is on the site on blasphemyribs.com, in the Blasphemy Ribs recipe, and you can get the full rub recipe there, and also information on where to get the NOH Chinese char siu rub is also on the website in the char siu ribs section. So once again, I'm going to toss this all up good, just like I did with the other one. There's a lot more ribs in here, so it's going to take a little more time. And I'll probably have to add some more rub here, it looks like. So I'm just going to continue to massage it around and get it as evenly coated as I can. It does look like I'm going to need some more. I'm looking to see some bare spots. A little more here to make sure got all the rub off the sides of the bag and onto the ribs, and I'm going to add a little more of the rub. Now I never measure it, I just go by eye, but it's probably in the neighborhood of 4 to 5 tablespoons of rub, and this of course will vary depending on how many ribs you're doing and also the surface area of the ribs, you know, how big they are or how small they are. Looks like I've got it coated pretty well. So once I get them done, they go into the refrigerator. Now, this is the tray that I use to hold my rib rack. And this rib rack or grill pan is from Weber. It's a model 6435. You can find information about it on the website in the other cool stuff section. And it's been, by the way, 24 hours or so, maybe a little bit longer, and we are going to go ahead and put these ribs onto the grill pan. But before we do that, I'm going to get some olive oil, and I'm going to put a coating of it with a paper towel all over the bottom of that rib or grill pan. And that does two things. It keeps the ribs from sticking, and it makes cleaning up the grill pan a whole lot easier when we're done. And I like this big tray that's underneath here because that lets me carry it in and out of the house and around and not drip all over the floor. And you also, it's great for when you are going to soak it after you're done. You can leave the pan right in here and then put some warm soapy water in there to soak it. So I've got the 4 char siu ribs on. Now I'm going to put the Blasphemy ribs on, the regular recipe. And you know, it's a good idea to keep the arc of the ribs facing the same way. And you'll notice I'm putting them all on their side. You can try to stand them on the end to get smoke and everything on all the sides, but I gave up doing that because they just don't want to stand up, and it works just fine when they're leaned over like this. And what you want to do is make sure there's enough space between the ribs to where you can get your grill brush in there later. So now we're taking them outside to the grill. You got your grill, your smoker set up at 225, and I'm just going to lift them off and put them into the smoker, and you see how easy it makes when you've got that grill pan. So I'm going to close it up and let them go for 2 hours. Okay, so it's been 2 hours now, and we're going to take them off and again put them back into our cookie sheet and close up our smoker so we don't lose too much heat, and take them into the house so we can baste them. So I've got my Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce and my honey in little dishes and my basting brush. And I'm bringing the ribs inside to do the basting. Now I used to do the basting out on the smoker, but I got real tired of sitting there and getting all the smoke in my face from the time it takes to do this, so I figured I'd just bring them into the house. So the first thing I'm going to do is baste the char siu ribs with honey. And here's a little trick. If you heat the honey for a few seconds, like 10 seconds, in the microwave to get it a little runny, it goes on easier. And now I'm going to do the barbecue sauce. You want to make sure that with the honey and the barbecue sauce you paint the top and the side that will become the actual top. So one of the sides that's facing up, and kind of get that brush in between the ribs so you get that good and coated. And I used to do the other side, but I don't bother flipping the ribs and basting the whole thing anymore. I find it really doesn't make a huge difference, so why bother? So now it's been 2.5 hours total cooking time, and I'm bringing the ribs back into the house to get them ready to serve. So I've got 3 plates set up, a little plate for my wife because she prefers the char siu style ribs, so I'm going to give her some on that plate. I'm going to put some of the regular Blasphemy ribs onto my plate, and do my wife's ribs here. I think I like this one better, and the rest of them will all go on the bigger plate over to the left, and those will become leftovers for the next couple of days. And this is the final plate ready to serve. Got some roasted Brussels sprouts to go with it. So here's a close-up, and you can see that beautiful smoke ring and how nice and juicy they are. So hey, that just about covers how to make Blasphemy ribs. And I want to remind you to go to our website, www.blasphemyribs.com. Go to the swag page where you can order these cool Blasphemy Ribs t-shirts, and you'll help support the site. And pass this all along to your friends and have fun making the ribs.